As day turns to night, the moon crests over the horizon, covering the landscape with a blood-red crimson. A sense of dread washes over the land, and you yourself feel your blood begin to boil with rage. A blood moon. I'm Alex from Slow Your Roll, and we're going to be talking about a handy little homebrew that I came up with. It's the blood moon. And no, this is by far not even close to a concept that I came up with. It happens often in nature and in several games that you've probably played before, but this is how you're going to put it on your TTRPG table. So what exactly is a blood moon? There's lots of things that people like to attribute to blood moons. So essentially what it is a blood red moon right up in the sky. I believe it's what happens when the Earth is between the moon and the sun. So it is a normal cycle that people would be able to see. But a lot of people like to attribute the blood red night to various mischievous deeds, or even attributing that to some sort of mystical power. And that's perfect for what we're talking about today. So first and foremost, why do you want to put a blood moon on your table? Well, this is going to be immediately a story enhancer. Wherever you're at, no matter where you are, this immediately raises the stakes. Not only will it enhance things like magic in combat for both the beasts and players alike, it could be of grave importance to certain creatures. I'm sure vampires and werewolves were the first thing people thought of, but really, humans. That's got to have a massive cultural and social implications if there was regular blood moons in your campaign. And again, this can totally be up to DM's interpretation, but however long the moon phase is how long that's going to be for your world. It could be a day, it could be a week. You decide, it's your world. But when you think about how long it's going to be, you should also think about how frequent. If it happens like once a month, it might have to be something that's just a part of regular gameplay or a part of the story in general. But if it happens like once a year, then it's something that you can pull out on your party when they finally get comfortable. It could be added into essentially any campaign. So I think I spent enough time about what a blood moon is and why you need to have it in your game. So what's it gonna do? And we're going to be drawing from a lot of different lore from just real world instances. So harvest and fertility is generally associated with a blood moon. So you can really expect there to be bountiful harvests. Maybe even the plants can feel the blood moon's energy and they're growing extra during this time. It could even be as far as unnatural improvements, where you look at an apple on a tree and it's just this unnatural dark red, one that you haven't really seen on the apples previously. And that's just the flora. There could be so many different psychological effects on people and the fauna. Not only would fights likely be way more likely to break out if you were in a bar, maybe it's not just anger that's overpowered. Every other type of emotion could be absolutely on display. People could feel like they're crying for no reason, or people could just be overjoyed with the smallest things like getting handed a beer. If you happen to be at a city that has a port near it, then the tides would be unnaturally drawn back. So far, so much that you might even be able to walk onto the beach where the water was. You could even discover things like shallow shipwrecks, or even go out to touch the coral reefs that have receded backwards and no longer have water. The blood moon is not simply for the time of lichens or vampires. Every other type of wild animal in your environment should be affected by it. There could be a pack of wolves that is very courageous and starts venturing closer and closer to the city gates. Or maybe you literally just see a squirrel snacking on a snake. Something that is really out of place, but narrates exactly the type of hostility displayed through all. And this one is my favorite. This helps to be able to use a blood moon for almost any CR, and I mean going up, 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 and up. Unstable teleportation and plane shifting. Teleporting to a location that you think you should be able to might be a little bit harder than you think, or teleporting to a different plane is going to be a bit rougher. possibly making escape from dangerous situations impossible. Or let's just flip that right back on its end and say it's so much easier. Your teleport distances are now extended for some reason, and now there's these little rifts that keep opening in the world, and devils are able to walk upon the land for the night, and that's your problem. I do try to have specific mechanics for the different things that are popping up that I'm talking about in the PDF down below if you'd like to check it out. But for specific creature effects, this is what's going to happen to you if you're a monster affected by the effects of the blood moon. Every single one of your stats, strength all the way down to charisma, is going to be increased by 1. This can slightly increase attack rolls, saving throws, skill checks, and even spell saving DCs, to give even the most mundane monsters that little extra. After that, we have the blood tracking ability. Any creature affected by the blood moon, and I do say creature because these buffs are not reserved for the players. They are specifically for the monsters against them. The blood tracking ability gives our monster advantage on wisdom checks for tracking. Additionally, the creature can sense a creature that's bleeding or has a heartbeat within 60 feet of the creature, as if it was under the effect of the locate creature spell. This is maddening for those of you who love the chases in your D&D games, or just to ensure that nobody's getting out of this fight. And the best of all the features the blood moon gives its creatures: regeneration of 1d4 per round, which isn't that much, no. But in a horde type situation, that becomes immense. And teamwork is everything. While attacking with melee attacks, you're going to receive 1d4 plus CR rating damage for each one of your attacks. Or if you just happen to be a spellcaster, lucky you, your spells are cast at 1 level higher, with no extra cost. And the frenzy, a part of the blood frenzy ability, is going to be your reckless abandon. You get to attack recklessly, giving yourself advantage on attack rolls, but giving others advantage against attack rolls against you. That's right, it's your own barbarian rage that you can apply to any creature, and you know for a fact something like a bear or a rhino should be able to rage anyway. So if all of these things are happening to the creatures around, and you're narrating all of these different types of changes in society, what's happening to your players? Well, lucky enough, everybody, we have something called the Blood Magic Surge table. Yes, it does absolutely sound like the Wild Magic Surge table, but it's just a little bit different. Every time that a player character takes damage, they have to roll on the Blood Magic Surge table to represent that both magic is unstable and so are your emotions. You are fighting against a frenzied rage whenever you take a hit and you need to roll on this table. It could have different sorts of comical or detrimental effects, or perhaps it just empowers your strikes to a new degree, similar to the Blood Frenzy ability. If you do want to check out the Blood Magic Surge table down below, you might get a laugh out of it because there's things like every time you take a step, flowers grow in your area, or an illusion duplicate of yourself controlled by the DM appears right next to you. There are so many different things that you'd be able to explore with the Blood Magic Surge table, and it wouldn't be limited to just sorcerers. And I'm sure you're probably a little bit apprehensive. No, don't worry, none of these things can kill you. They can hinder you in some way, but that's not going to be too big of an issue. So if changes in your monsters, society, and players isn't really enough to set the setting that the blood moon has changed something, let's talk about the social and societal implications. There would likely be some sort of holiday accompanying a blood moon, especially if it was going to be related to extra harvest and fertility. So I've got 2 holidays for you. One, the Festival of the Crimson Harvest, a gigantic farmer's market decorated with red ribbons and banners all across the town. A grand feast is the centerpiece of this holiday, brought together from everyone around in this bountiful harvest. And you could definitely expect there to be different kinds of sales booths or even kind of field games that you would be able to bob for apples, or other types of fun cornhole games that could be a part of a festival. But if you didn't want the blood moon to have too much of a nice overtone, you could have the Night of the Bloodied Moon. People gather around for this great contest of skill. It's essentially a gladiator battle. People come together on the night which they are strongest to claim the title of the Blood Moon Warrior. I could see this being accompanied by a masquerade ball, a candlelit walk, or parade. But most of all, for both of these holidays, there should be some sort of elders, storytellers, seers, some people giving out fortunes and omens. What better night than the night of the blood moon than for your fortune teller to tell your party, the eclipse shall open the celestial gate, the stars shall fall, and the heavens will weep as the barrier between worlds grows thin. And then her eyes roll back into her head the right way and she says, "Who wants tea?" Like, come on, fortune tellers write themselves. But really though, those are a couple of ideas that I've thrown at you, and all of those ideas are actually written mechanically down in the PDF I provided below. If you have any improvements or something that you think should be a part of a blood moon, leave it down in the comments too, because I'd love to hear it. But in the meantime, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe for more. And until next time, everybody, I've been Alex with Slow Your Roll, and we will see you later.